MP for the area, George Freeman. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, I mean, I'd only been in Watton for about 5 minutes when someone described it to me as forgotten Watton. Do you think that had something to do with why people voted Leave in the area?
Definitely. And thank you for coming, because Watton feels a bit less forgotten this weekend. Yeah, Watton was the first town in my constituency to vote UKIP, and it started to agitate very early for Brexit. And of course, some of that is a feeling about Europe and about the unaccountability of the European bureaucracy. But it's also very clear to me that it's a vote for change. It's a vote of legitimate grievances. People feel like Watton's getting a lot of housing and no infrastructure. People see public services under pressure because of the austerity post-crash. They see the old main employer, the Bowes pig factory, owned by a local family in the 50s and 60s, now owned by Cranswick Country Foods, 900 employees from Eastern Europe. And they feel as though the growth in Cambridge is only 40 miles away, might as well be 100 years away. And Watton feels, frankly, as you've reported, it feels forgotten even within mid-Norfolk, even within Breckland. The main money from the council goes to Dereham and Thetford. Watton's a really marginalised town.
Do you think politicians really understand, I mean, the government, for example, really understands some of those driving forces behind that Leave vote?
Yes and no. I mean, I think Theresa May, in that Burning Injustices speech, when she went into number 10, and I went with her, I think she put her finger on some of those real grievances that had driven the vote for change. But I think rural voters, like those that you've been to see in my constituency this week, feel very ignored. Even the burning injustices tend to be urban. They tend to be in a city. There's a lot of rural deprivation and poverty in this country, a lot of small towns that feel very cut off and isolated. And you saw Watton High Street. It used to be a thriving market town with a big RAF defence base, a factory, full employment. In the 50s, it was Harold Macmillan Town. You've never had it so good. Now it feels like a commuter housing estate, houses being dumped, no infrastructure. And that's why I'm insisting that we have to deliver Brexit, of course. But much more importantly, we've got to deliver those domestic reforms to tackle those grievances. And I just give you three, which will probably resonate, having been in Watton: skills, infrastructure, and aid. So on skills, I'm not suggesting that we should send the 900 Eastern Europeans working in incredibly tough and hard jobs in that pork factory, send them home and get 900 people from Watton to work there. That's not the right approach. But we need to make sure that youngsters leaving Watton Academy, much better school now, get some skills and get a passport. So I'm calling for a skills passport, free transport, and make sure everybody gets a chance to go and work in the new jobs in the area. On aid, a lot of people in Watton feel that we're dishing money out around the world when we should be doing more for our own people. So I'd like us to offer every school and college leaver a 6-week work experience on the front line of our aid programme, like National Service for its time. And on housing, I just think we should be making sure that where housing comes in, a lot more of the money is kept locally for infrastructure.
Sounds a bit like a manifesto of your own there, that you've just... I mean, are you worried about, fighting the next election? Do you think at the minute Labour could win?
Yes, I do, but I don't think it's beyond recovery. I just think we need to make sure that, as well as the boring legal mechanics of Brexit, I mean, this is like surgery and we're all staring at the scalpel. I think we need to be setting out a much more positive agenda for what Brexit will be the catalyst for, real renewal, and that's the work I'm doing this year through the Conservative Policy Forum. 25 Conservative colleagues and I are publishing a book this spring on renewal beyond Brexit, and it's the work I'm doing through the Big Tent. Unless we signal that, yes, we're going to deliver Brexit, but it's not an extreme mandate for some UKIP vision of Britain. We're going to deliver it as a one-nation Conservative Party with real renewal, bold policy reforms to tackle the grievances you've discovered in Watton, then I think we'll fail to deliver.
At the next election, which could be quite soon, is Theresa May the right person to fight it for the Conservatives?
I've made very clear my position on that. I don't think she is.
Even if it's a snap election?
Well, she came to the 1922 before Christmas when threatened by the hardline Brexiteers, and I supported her, as did many of us, on the basis of a very moving speech where she said, listen, I will honour my commitment to see through Brexit, but I will not lead you into the next election. And there was a sadness in the room from her, and it was a very important moment. And I honestly believe that after Brexit, we ought to be choosing a new...
Did she say the next election, or did she say the election in...
Yes, she said, it's sadness for me that I'm not going to lead you into the next election, and it is, I can see that. But honestly, I think that she will have done this country a huge service negotiating a sensible withdrawal deal. And then a new generation of Conservatives need to reach out to a new generation of voters and frame a new relationship with Europe and a new vision of how we make Brexit a moment of deep and national renewal.
I wonder if there is a wider issue as well for the Conservative Party, almost an existential issue, because Brexit has exposed divisions everywhere, but it's certainly exposed divisions in the Conservative Party. It almost feels a real stretch to contain MPs like Sarah Wollaston and Anna Soubry, along with the Jacob Rees-Moggs and Boris Johnsons. Do you think there is a realignment of politics going on?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what you're seeing is Brexit took all the normal rules of politics off. David Cameron suspended cabinet responsibility, collective responsibility. The whipping operation is almost impossible. The whole system of normal political discipline has broken down, and can't you see it? We've somehow got to put back together a politics that's capable of delivering strong and stable government. Is there a realignment going on? I think there is, but it's not as big as the extremists on either end would have you say. Jeremy Corbyn, on the one hand, would say, yeah, there's an alignment going on. The country wants a hard left socialism. I don't think that's what's going on. And Nigel Farage on the right would say, yeah, there's an alignment going on. We want a very right-wing nationalist, narrow, shrill politics. I don't think that's what the British people want. But I do think they want a sense that Britain, in a world of globalisation, technology, big corporate power, that the Conservative Party is capable of developing a generous, one-nation, compassionate, but also rigorous politics that gives people a chance in life, a chance to get on and looks after them if they fall, but is not dishing out money left, right and centre, sort of virtue signalling internationally, but is building a sense of Britain in the world. And I think that citizenship, from personal to global, is a new politics. You know, when I first came of age in the 80s, it was all about money, trade unions, power. It was all about the economy. I think politics now is about culture, ownership, belonging, power, whether democracy works for the people of Wotton.
OK, George Freeman, thank you very much.